Hey guys, this is Forsaken Reality here with a new series that I decided to work on. In this series, we'll be looking at creating Mario power-ups such as the Mega Mushroom, the Mini Mushroom, Invisibility, Metal Mario, and Star Power. The goal for this series basically is to recreate every single power-up from all the Mario games in Unreal Engine. There are a lot of power-ups, so it's going to take quite some time. First one we're going to work on though is the giant mushroom or the Mega Mushroom, which allows Mario to grow several times larger for a period of time before shrinking back down to size. We will also look into features like the giant Mario object kicking and crushing later on, so that when you're when you have the Mega Mushroom, you will be able to like crush things by walking into them and kick them. Your collision will bounce things a lot farther and stuff, and we'll set up some destructibles and things like that. And I may throw in a few different features throughout the series, such as squishing Goombas or something else that you might suggest. So for this one, we're going to work on the giant mushroom. In the first episode, we're going to work on the growth. So basically, you walk up and you get bigger. And I have the timer set very short, but you'll shrink back down. And I'll also look into things like setting up the effects, time, sounds, and different things like that to make it look a lot more neat. I just need to collect some different things for the project. I'll collect some free models and things. So I'll make sure this whole project is all using free assets. So without further ado, we will get into that. Just gonna move my test project over out of the way. And now all I have here is a blank third-person project in Unreal Engine 4.26. So we want to pause the video and create that. That'll be fine. I'll just wait here until then. So the first thing we're going to do is I want to clean up the project a little bit quickly. Just going to open up my maps folder, drag my geometry into my maps, fix up redirectors, delete this folder, put my meshes in my geometry folder. Move these two to my third person BP. And delete this mannequin folder. And we can delete this third person folder, so now we only have this. We can rename this to whatever we want. Just want to make sure to fix up redirectors after you do different things, so you don't break anything. Blueprints. That's good enough for now. So we're going to create another folder in here. Now we're going to start with our power-ups. And I'm just going to call this folder pickups. And in here, I'm going to create a blueprint that's an actor, and it's going to be called BP underscore master pickup. I'm going to create a child of that. That's going to be our BP underscore giant or mega mushroom. I'm going to open up my master. And in here, I'm going to add a static mesh, and I'll call this pickup mesh. And I'm going to add a box. Collision. And for the pickup mesh, I'm just going to use the 1mm cube here. Block this so I can set them all at the same time. 0.5, 0.5, not 5. Gonna move this up so that it's level with the plane there. Turn off that lock. And adjust my collision just so it's around my item like that. So now that we have that done, we have our master pickup and a basic mesh. We're gonna go into our event graph. We can delete these two. We're gonna want our event begin play. So we're gonna drag out of here and cast to master third person character. That's our blueprint's name right now. Player character. We're gonna get our player character. It's gonna cast to our third person. We're gonna set a reference to our character. So when this is created, it also creates a reference to the character. Something I like to do in my comments always is darken them up just so they're not so annoying and bright. And you want to edit our preferences and go to comment. And you can just set this by default here. And now when we create our comments, they'll be darker. So now that we have this, we want to go to our collision and on begin overlap. Let's put that right there for now. And we are going to begin working on our growth. Just making sure I have everything set up to start this off. One thing I'm going to do is create a folder called power-ups in the pickups, because I may end up making another kind of pickup later on, like coins. I might just add those because they're simple. And I'm also going to rename my character. Let's rename that. You don't need to do the game mode, but makes it easier to find in here. I'm just going to delete this character out of the scene here, and I'm going to set the game mode to BP Mario game mode. And now when I click play, it should have everything set right here. And my character will be in the world. Okay, so now we want to go browse back to our master pickup. And in here we're going to create a custom event. And this is going to be called Grow. And the first thing we're going to do is check if our character is our overlapped character. And the way we're going to do this, I'll show you how I actually have this set up in the other one too, rather than going through all this and then going over there. So you're going to want to check if whatever is input to your growth, actually your other actor, is equal to your character. And the way that this is going to work is if you open up your power-ups in your Mega Mushroom, you go to your collision. And in here you begin overlap. We can call it a grow event from our master class. And our other actor will plug into other actor like that. So that will get the other actor, and then it'll run this event to grow, and if they're equal, then it will continue. And the other actor is the pickup. And now we're going to want to and I'm actually going to rename this other actor to pickup reference because that's a reference to our. It's going to be a reference to our pickups because the other actor that's colliding is going to send to our pickup. Or no, that's completely wrong. I'm just going to call it other actor because it's actually a reference to our character. So if our other actor is equal to our character, when we overlap, then it's going to check if it's equal to our character, and then it will continue on. Got that a little mixed up for a second. And if we are overlapping, we're going to want to create a timeline. And that will be our growth timeline. We also want to create a Boolean set that the character ate the mushroom, so they're giants. So if they're true, if their character is, then they are a giant. That will allow us to do different things with using this Boolean right here to determine different things. We're going to play this from start, not play. Okay, now the growth timeline. We want a vector track. And you want to right click off this line right here and add keys to all tracks. And the time is going to be length is set to 1. I'm going to add a few of these. 1, 2. Okay, there's 6 of them, so I'm going to add 6. Make sure you're off the line when you're creating them, so it's adding it to the all. And a way to, if you know, also another thing in here, if you click this, it'll select one. If you drag, it'll select all of them. So for the first one, you want to set the time to 0 and the value to 1 because it's going to start at 1. Because this timeline is going to set your growth. And if you close out of this and just reopen it, it should set it up a little more easier to see. And I'm just gonna come back outside my event graph for a sec, or my growth timeline for a second before I continue that. And I'm gonna get my character reference, capsule component, and the mesh will grow with the capsule component because it's attached to it. So if you go to your character, you can see that your capsule and your character is inside there. So you only need to grow your capsule and everything else will grow with it. Set world scale 3D. And we're going to set that on update. And basically every time that this runs through for a second on every tick, it will continue to grow it. It'll run the timeline from start to finish. And it'll set the new scale as it grows, starting at 1. The reason I did that first, so it'll make a little more sense what we're doing in here. So you said it started at 1. And then have that 0.25 seconds in. And the value is 2. It's going to move all these up here. I'm just going to set them up in a spike like this for now. And I'm just going to close out of the timeline and open it up just so I can get a better look at it. So then we have this one, and this one. So now we're on here. I want to make sure to select it like this. So we select all the dots that are there. at 0.35 for the time. 1.65. Select all the next one. 0.5. 3. And the next one we can select 0.67, 2.75, and the final one 1 second. Get our final value. And we're going to actually give it a little extra bump at the end. We're going to turn on user. And we're also going to turn on user for this one. There we go. Just going to close out of my timeline one more time. And I'm going to rotate this up like so that there's a bump up like this into the final. And that was my Z, so I'm going to hide that. Bring the Z down slightly. They don't need to be perfect because the very small differences won't matter. You won't notice them too much, I mean. So basically now we have our grow timeline set up. We have our scale being set. And I'm just going to browse and throw a mushroom out into the world. And there's an issue right there with the spamming. It's continuing. Just gonna check my capsule. Oh, there it is. You want to tick off hidden in game so you can see your capsule in the game. I think that might be a collision issue, so I'm just gonna go into my pickup mesh, set that to custom, and we're gonna ignore all of these. And just let's see what happens. There we go. Now we can run over it and it will grow our character. But the camera's not bouncing out or nothing, so it looks kind of weird there. So to make some adjustments for that, we'll first need to open up our character and do some adjustments to our camera. So our camera boom, first I'm just going to call this the spring arm. Now we have following our head upwards. And then we'll do the adjustments on the rest of it. So after we create our growth timeline, we will want to start adjusting the length of our spring arm, our field of view, and our speeds. Because you'll notice that when you get bigger, your speed is still set really slow. So the first thing we're going to do is create a function called just spring arm length. It's going to have one input, and it's going to be a float. It'll be our target length. And the way we're going to do this is get our character reference so we can get access to our spring arm. And from here we can get our target arm length. F_interp2 so that it gets smooth movement, and the target we're going to plug into here, so whatever is input into our function will be our target. I'm just going to put this down here actually. And finally we're going to set spring arm, or set arm target arm length. And plug that in like this. For our delta time seconds, we'll just search delta, get world seconds. And for our interp speed, we'll set that to 6. So that will slowly adjust the spring arm. Go back to our event graph. Plug this in. Now we can adjust our spring arm smoothly by whatever value we put in here. We're going to adjust it from whatever it is to the target, which is 1500. That's what I'm setting it to. Now when we walk over this, the spring arm will move, and there's still those issues with the collision there. I think that's honestly just because we need our check for if we're giant or not. So we'll go into our mega mushroom. Actually, we'll go into our grow. We'll get this. Hold B and click to create a branch. We're going to check if we're already giant before we run this event, so that it won't continuously run it. And if we are not giant, we'll run it. Now we shouldn't shrink, and we shouldn't be able to overlap that multiple times. There we go. Also, we're going to look into deleting it and removing it from the scene, so that probably also would have fixed the collision issues because it would have been removed before it got to that point. But it's always a good check just in case you hit it twice. There could be a moment where like your collision capsule bounces off it twice before it makes it to the very end of the event where the destroy is. So now we have that quick check put in there. We have our spring arm adjusting. Just double checking that to make sure everything's right in there. Now we're going to do a field of view adjustment. I'm going to create a new function called adjust FOV for field of view. And in here, we're going to get our character reference, follow camera, and we're going to get our field of view. We're also going to set our field of view. And we're going to F_interp for float. And our target is going to be whatever we put into the function. Delta time is our get world delta seconds, and our interp speed will be 5. You can also adjust these interp speeds if you want to mess around with those and see if you can get a feel that you like better. I found that these settings work the best for me. So now it's interpolating our field of view. So we can drag that out. And I'm just going to give this a quick comment. Just our spring arm over time. Just our field of view over time. And we're going to go to 100 when we're big. And we'll test this out. There we go. The next one we're going to do is adjust speed function. And in here, we're going to get our character reference, get our character movement component, max walk speed. We'll set our max walk speed. And we'll get our F interp to, and our target will plug in like so. So our target's fed into our function. And the target speed. Build time, volt seconds, interp speed will be 1. It's going to be about our adjusting our speed over time. It's going to go in my field of view. Rename that so it makes a little more sense. And pull out our adjust speed. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's making them go. I'm just going to set it up really high just so I can see it. In mine, I set up the walking animation so he walks instead of those the jog. Seems like he's going to a normal speed. This is just to make it obvious. Yeah, it's definitely going up. So 900. Is there a speed adjustment? I'm just going to go into my master character and set my max walk speed to 150. Yeah, it looks a little weird though. So just for, you probably want a walk animation, or just either that or you'd want to deal with some speed adjustments. You definitely want him to go faster if he was bigger and jogging, for example. So yeah, basically you can just mess around with setting your speed here. I'm just going to come in here and delete this jogging animation so that he always has a walk. And I'm going to set this to 900. And I'm going to keep that at 150. So there's that. And he gets bigger. He's still walking. Okay. The last thing I'm going to do for this one is I guess we don't need to do that. Yeah, that's going to be everything for this episode. In the next episode, we'll work on the character shrinking. We'll be using a set timer by event to determine how long we'll be shrinking for, we'll be growing for, and we'll create a new event and a new timeline to determine that. If you found this video helpful and want to see more, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new tutorial video uploads. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, feel free to leave those in the comments section below or join my Discord server using the link in the description. Thanks, and I'll see you in that next episode.